Hey guys, how's it going? Misu here, back with another Epic 7 video, and today we're going to be talking about why you're not subscribed right now. A bunch of guys, as usual, are watching this and are not subscribed. So what are you waiting for? Hit that subscribe button right now. I really appreciate it. On to the actual video. Today we are actually going to be talking about top model Luluca. And my, oh my, does she look absolutely amazing. Like, look at this character. She is amazing waifu material, and her skill 3 animation just looks absolutely crazy. I think here it is right here, right?
착용자의 능력을 극한까지 끌어낼 수 있는 슈트를 만드는 디자이너와 그의 옷을 소화하는 모델은 우주적 부와 권력을 손에 넣을 수 있다고 하는데요. 루루카는 자신의 모델을 찾던 떠돌이 디자이너.
Design is just absolutely amazing and really just makes me want to pull her, which also makes me glad that I did not pull ML Crow, because I did want ML Crow, but I didn't get to get him. I'm like 62 off of pity or something like that. So I'm glad that I'm able to save my resources for top model Luluca. Look at that. Oh, so good. But onto the character itself, and I mean, as you can tell from, I guess, what I'm saying, I'm going to be pulling for her, and I think you guys should too. But let's kind of talk a little bit about why I think you should do that. So let's take a look at her skill kit, right? So her S2, they start off with here, increases the combat radius of everybody by 15%, increases her own attack, and grants an extra turn. That is insane. If you think about it, she's kind of like Seedom in that sense, right? She gets an extra turn, increases people's combat readiness, and then she goes and bursts somebody, right? So she does, with her S3, she goes and bursts people. But you can kind of think of it as like, a Seedom slash like Acoli, with that Acoli is that fast unit, that, burst unit, but then Seedom also gives the CR push. So you can kind of think of it actually as like an Acoli that gives utility to the team, which is kind of crazy, because one of the reasons why Acoli isn't used is because, well, she's squishy, but also all she is damage, right? And she doesn't really provide much outside of that. Luluca does. She pushes CR and provides that damage, and on top of that, she gets Extinction with her S3, which is out of control, out of this world. Like, given the current, especially the RTA meta, I don't know if you're going to be able to pick her every time into an Arbiter Vildred, depending on their lineup, but it can be a really, really good like counter pick, last pick situation where you see that they don't have much damage mitigation on their team with FCC barrier, and mainly FCC barrier, and Aureus, and then you pick her into that RB and just absolutely demolish them. Or you see like they have some squishy units and they pick like a Ruel, you can demolish, like the name says, demolish them. I think she's really, really good with these two skills, and I'll even go into more detail about why I think that she would be like a better pick than Assassin Coley, other than just the Extinction. And I know Assassin Coley is like not super popular in the meta, but every now and then you will see one. And then her S1 uses Suicide Energy to attack the enemy, and then she has a 40% chance of proccing Dust Devil, basically. So she has a built-in Dust Devil, which is kind of nuts. And you could increase that to 100% with Soulburn. So yeah, she is really, really good. Her skill kit's really, really good. And with the data mine, it shows that her multipliers are actually really, really good as well. So if you look at her multipliers here, and let me zoom in, her S1 has a 1 multiplier, which is very reasonable, especially for a skill that can proc twice. That's really, really good. And then her S3, is a 1.6 multiplier with a 0.15 speed multiplier, which is actually nuts, because if you compare that to Assassin Coley's multiplier, her speed multiplier is actually higher than her Assassin Colis. So that is actually insane. So yeah. So I kind of built her here with a, I guess, Portrait of Saviors, because a lot of times you may probably want to bring her in to burst somebody down. Oh yeah, sorry. One thing I forgot to go into was that her S1 ignores damage sharing abilities, which is really, really good. Given the current RTA meta, given the Bruiser meta, given that it's like an Aureus meta, that is really, really, really good. And of course, SSB, always really good against SSB. So let's get into the numbers. If you think, first we'll look at Assassin Coli, right? So I'd say on average, like, people are probably going to be building their A Colis like this. They'll probably, instead of using Portrait, they'll probably use like RNL. Loose. I don't know how to spell it. Freaking Rene Lucien, whatever it's called. I don't see it here, unfortunately. Oh, I mean, it doesn't change the multipliers, that's why. Duh. But yeah, so let's take this off, because a lot of times Assassin's Coli will use RNL, right? So I built her with about 3k attack, 280% crit damage, and then, of course, around 270, 280 speed. I think that is a very respectable A Coli, one that is probably above average, and these are the numbers you'd be expecting. With a Soulburn S3, you'd be hitting about 17k on 1k defense. Let's probably pop it up a little bit, because I think RTA people probably want to build their units a little bit tankier. So actually, you know what, we'll bring it down, because we're going to talk about Vildreds. So you're going to be popping a lot of units with the Soulburn. But with the non-Soulburn version, you're actually not really doing much damage, which is unfortunate. And that's probably one of the reasons why people don't really bring A Coli into the fights, because she does require this Soulburn to actually make her do damage, which means, one, you'll only really be able to use her when you have Soul, so they're not using A Tywin, and you have a book on your team, you can open up with that, right? But the other drawback of A Coli is she doesn't get increased attack, because oftentimes she's the fastest unit on the team. So that's why she, again, relies on the Soulburn. But when we're looking at top model Luluca, right, I built her on the same stats, with lower speed, of course, because she has a lower, speed, base speed. And honestly, I think you might be able to build her even faster than this, but let's just stick with 230 for now, right? The one thing is that she is gonna be able to use increased attack, right? She's not going to be on RNL. I'm going to build her on Portrait, and I think that is a very appropriate artifact on her. But yeah, so she's going to be able to give herself increased attack, because she opens up with S2, right? So that makes her do more damage off the bat. And then, same stats as everything else, with her speed being lower. And you could probably bump this up a little bit higher, right? You could probably even bring this like 240, 250, and you do more. But let's get a 230, and then look at that. The damage is very comparable, if not even better, than A Coli's Soulburn S3. Even though Soulburn S3 is a 3 multiplier, like this skill right here does so much damage because it has that high speed multiplier, but also you get increased attack. So, and you don't have to Soulburn it. So you can bring this unit solo. You don't need a Tome Holder. You don't need to worry about a Tywin. And you can just use her to open up on, whatever you need to do. Like I said, a Ruel with a squishy unit, or an RB, or maybe a team that's lacking Aureus. You can use her to extinct those units to make sure they don't come back. You can open up with her. You CR push your team, and that is absolutely insane. And on top of that, she gives herself stealth after S3, so she can probably follow up with some attacks afterwards with her S1, and it ignores damage sharing. So even if they have that Aureus, right, they will take full damage. Let's say they have an Aureus, right? So she's going to be doing less damage, but you know, an RB usually is going to have around like 9 to 10k HP, right? Of course, with an FCC in play, that makes things a little bit more complicated. Then you're probably not going to be able to one-shot that unit, which is why I feel like this is going to be like a last pick, counter pick type of situation, where you see an RB on their team, where you see a squishy unit plus a Ruel or something, you want to extinct them, and if they don't have an FCC, you can go ahead and do that. But also, I mean, like I said, she gets stealth. You may be able to just, or, you know, not just stealth, but you push up your team, you know, you give yourself stealth, you last a little bit longer, you may be able to get it back up eventually, especially because if you kill somebody with it, you can, you know, reduce the cooldown. But I think that if you're running it up against like a tanky team with an RB, you might not want to run her as much, but you can still think about her S1 being really good in that situation, right? So she's a very flexible unit in that she does target a very strong part of the meta, which is Arbiter Vildred, but also is able to target the other part of the meta with these tanky teams using damage mitigation, such as Aureus, right? Or like an SSB. And those things are really, really big in the meta. So I think overall she's really, really good because of that. And, you know, we can't end off one of my unit reviews without taking a look at the tier list. Though the tier list really is kind of like, or not tier list, but like a counter pick list. There's really not much here because she has a role, right? So she's not going to be like something that counters everybody, but she's going to do certain things really well and counter the meta really well. So like Arbiter Vildred and Ruel, I think I would say that she counters and does really well. Maybe less so Ruel, but Arby for sure. And she's really, really good against, I don't even know why Charles is here. She's really, really good against like a Rowana, right? Yet again, the revive. But Rowana does have that thing where if she procs the attack twice, she will give combat readiness and heal. So it's kind of a little bit of a double-sided sword, double-edged sword with that, right? Why is ML Ken here? I don't know. And then you have a Tywin here. I basically just put like the popular knights in the meta. Where the hell's FCC? FCC's up here. Lilius is up here. Basically these Aureus holders, right? And she's good against them because S1 and SSB here, of course. And this is like my budget, my freaking bootleg ML Crow, because this tier list doesn't have an ML Crow on it. Yet again, just because Crow's an Aureus holder, it's really good against that. And then I'd say that she's kind of like not great against, like, I wouldn't say like pretty useless, but like she's not great against these units because they go faster than her. And will prevent her from doing what she wants to do, right? Get pushed back, silence, so she's gonna strip and slow down, or you could even stun her because she probably won't be running immunity, and then not really counter by, but like it's gonna be hard for her to deal with this girl right here, Tempest Surin, because she can't one-shot her, and also she goes invisible, so you can't single target her, right? But the one thing you do have on your side is that you do have your S1 that could proc twice and potentially kill her outright. So this kind of like, yet again, the counter pick list is kind of like not super useful in this case because it's very specifically targeted, but I think that she's a good, well-rounded enough unit where she's going to do well against most of the meta. And yeah, there we go. There is my review on this unit. You should definitely pull her. She's going to be definitely really, really good. She's going to be good in Guild War as well, good in Arena as well. So just all around really good PvP unit. And she could be used in PvE, of course, but that's not going to be her focus. But yeah, hopefully you guys enjoy that video. Sorry, as always, thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Thumbs down if you didn't, and tell me why. Leave comments down below and hit that subscribe button. I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace out.